All right, I'm back. So I'm here to talk about 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. This is one is called Hell Hath No Fury, and it's season 5, episode 8. It starts out with Larissa and Eddie, and she's saying she got to talk to him. Let me explain something to you about Larissa and her face. You telling this man he's a bitch. You telling this man you can't believe he talked about you to this other girl who he was with when y'all wasn't together, and y'all already said y'all wouldn't bring up old stuff. Why are you talking about my intimacy? First of all, get the sentence right. Let's try that. I know she has a language barrier. I can't let up on it. I can't. You have a $10,000 face that looks like hell with no makeup. Your face should look amazing if you have $10,000 of Botox and surgery to your face. And she's in the kitchen, right? And she got to close the window because she don't want nobody to call the cops. He's closing the blinds and he get ready to slap the stuffing out of her, and he don't want nobody to see. And he's telling her, like, we wasn't together. Why you, like, when you break up with somebody, I'm pissed. I'm saying every nasty gutter thing I could say about you because I'm angry and I'm upset. That's what people do. So what is the big deal? Yeah, you talked about how she gave blowjobs. I mean, you are a reality star and people want to know. So she's talking about you hate me because of how much you talked about her and how much you hate me. Why do you hate me so much? So if he would say, Larissa, I'm sorry I talked about you, would that have ended the conversation? That's why she's always in trouble with the law. That's why she don't get deported. And he's like, you in my house, girl. And let me tell you something. Eric has some crazy, like, tendencies. No, girl, he do all of this. How you doing, Eric? Nothing wrong with that, but just come out and say it. And then she's talking about some bitch, my face is $10,000. But where your kids at, girl? Where your kids at? Where are your kids? You have no job, you have no home. You're living with this man because Carmen put you out. Because Carmen put you out of her house because you back dating Eric. So you have no leg to stand on. And she wants to just know why. I just don't understand the big fight. Like, I just don't understand. Now she's like, oh, maybe I should be quiet because I don't want him to call the cops. You should have thought about that before you had this conversation with the girl on the phone. Now we go to Andre and Libby and how they, he's upset and he's eating something that looked like all to be damned. It's some kind of gelatin stuff with, like, meat. Here's what it looked like, y'all. It looks like, when you bake chicken and it's in the juice and whatever, and then you put it in the refrigerator overnight and it has that gelatin, like, taste to it. That's what it looks like he's eating right now. It looks crazy. And he's just talking to her. And he's like, why do you wanted them here? It's not my choice. I don't like them when they're here. And she goes, what do you want me to say? And he's just like, well, you got to tell them to stop asking about my business. And why can't you defend me and say you're okay with me staying home and while you work? Do you hear what you're saying right now? She said the baby is older. And she can go to daycare or her mom can watch the baby. I don't know why nobody said daycare yet, for real, but And she's looking at him like, whatever. And then he's just, it's a situation, it is what it is. We can't leave our child. Why? So when she 4 and 5, what you gonna do when she go to school? And she's just like, do you think it's okay? And he keeps saying, no, we can't leave our child right now. And I'm the most perfect man to watch her right now. And it's me and I'm the father. And it's normal. I thought it wasn't normal in Moldova because you keep saying what Moldova does. Moldova this and Moldova that. And he said, like, you're fine with this, so why are you not fine with it in front of your family? Clearly she's not if she don't defend you in front of her family. Think about it, Andre. He's just so arrogant and male chauvinistic. I truly don't know how she deals with him, and I would love to see another side of him. And now she's saying they're going to get married. She's like, maybe. And he's like, I keep feeling like they pursue me. Pressured is the other word. Or they want to ask him questions. And he said, I don't gotta prove shit to them. Let me tell you something. You shouldn't have to prove nothing to them now, but you should have proved something to them before. Maybe not. Maybe you should just have to prove it to Libby. I think she's just stuck in the middle because she don't know how to open her mouth. And he's just, this is a nasty human being. And she storms off. And he's still eating his nasty jealous and stuff with tea. And here we go with Kalani and Oswalo. I'm going to ask it every time. Can somebody please just say what's wrong with the boy? Like, Kalani seems too well with it. She seems to pick this man. Like, something is wrong with him. So they're on their way to Washington State. So they're going to buy some gifts for his family. So he's saying in the culture, you don't show up empty-handed. You give them money. You bring some gifts. And you show support and how much you love them. I noticed that's a big, culture thing across the board, across this show. He's getting them corned beef. And he has it's corned beef. Corned beef is like $4 or $5 a can. And he's getting like 6. He's getting these shirts. And he's getting the massive size. And he's just picking up stuff like he's just like in a Dollar Tree. And his wife, Kalani's just like, yeah, you think, can we afford that? And she goes, well, how about we give them gifts instead of giving them money? And he's like, no, my mom is expecting money. And she's just trying to be realistic. Realistically, you got this man working part-time in a yoga shop talking about he make $1,000 a month. Where? She don't work because they got 2 small kids. But didn't nobody think about this before y'all had these kids, before he came over here? Like, how are y'all affording 2 kids? Is her family helping her? Does she get welfare assistance? I'm very confused. And she's like, well, how much money do you think we can take? And he's like, 1,000, because his mother last week asked him for $1,000, and he was like, oh, I gotta pay my car and for the diapers and stuff. And the sister is like, yeah, no, forget the car, give us money. That's how you're supposed to do. And he's like, my family's really close, and we have to give money. And she's like, money doesn't make family appreciate you, but she has to know in the culture it does for them. Not in American culture, Kalani, but in that culture. And he's like, what about 500? And she's like, where? And he's like, well, let's just pray about it. Basically, let's give them $500 and God is going to miraculously bless us with more money. And she goes, well, let's give my dad $1,000 and let's hope we can pay our bills. And something is not clicking. And he's like, it's going to come from my pocket. Then she goes, $50. And she goes, well, give me $50. I don't have it. Something is wrong with him. Somebody please address the issue. And I know Sean Robinson isn't going to do it because she's too nice. And Kalani's getting pissed off and she's rolling her eyes. I swear, they'll say, don't scroll your eyes. Don't scroll your eyes at me. I knew that was scrolling. But it's just beyond me how y'all have 2 small kids and don't have no money. He working a part-time job. Why he not working full-time? Maybe he can't get a job. I don't know. Something is wrong with this picture. But she's just trying to make him understand we don't have money like that. And he's not getting the picture. And I think the family is going to push back or be angry with her because they're going to think it's her fault. But I don't get how they think he's making this money. I don't understand it. And he's just happy to see his family in Washington State. And they're still in this gift shop. And the gift shop bill for all the snacks is $191. And I'm like, how about just bring them a couple of things and give them the $191 plus the $500? Just asking. Now we have Colt. That's how he uses his glasses. Every time he takes his hand, get a smaller size so they can fit, okay? So they go into Sao Paulo to his parents to say thank you for coming. And the family, that's what they do. They give gifts when they're leaving. It's Brazil tradition. When people come into the house. She said, I don't care if Debbie was mean to me or not. And then Colt goes over before they leave to talk to his father on a freaking PowerPoint. He's trying to slide through the slideshow and it's not working. But basically to ask if he can marry Jess. 6 months ago you was with Larissa and you ain't like. So everybody's crying, they're hugging because apparently Jess is going back to the States and she might not see her family for like a year and her visa expires in 6 months. And then Debbie's in the back asking what were you and her dad talking about. He's like, sports. Coach, you wouldn't know what a baseball looked like if it hit you on top of the head, but we're gonna move on. So, it's an awkward ride, and Jess is like, I'm gonna miss my family, but I love you, and maybe we can come back together, and we can, be a better couple, and basically insinuating marriage. And Deb is in the back seat, like, okay. So now we with Angela and Michael, and they at the zoo, and they showing little monkeys. They're so cute. They're so cute. And Michael is showing, how he holds it and touched the monkey and how the monkey's friendly. And what's her name? What is her name? Angela is like, yeah, no, I'm not with it. I don't want no monkeys. So now she's gonna go and talk to Michael and tell her about the cancer part of it and how she may have cancer. And he's like, why didn't you tell me sooner? And then she's giving him this, he has to answer her quickly. She's like, oh, you got to tell me, like, if we are together, and I can't have a baby, tote a baby, that will you still be with me? She knows the culture, and she cannot possibly want this man to answer her without having to think about this. His family, his lifeline, his culture is having children to extend the lifeline. And, allow them to carry the name on. That's what African people do. That's just their heritage. And she's just like, you can't answer me right now? Lady, no, I can't. And she's like really upset. She's not with it. She's not happy. And she's like, you can't really tell. She's really like digging into him. And he's like, you want me? You want this marriage? You want a baby? And he's just like, I love you. I want to take care of you. But let's just wait and see before we jump to conclusions. He's like, I can't give you an answer. And she's still like shocked. You just dropped him a bombshell. Cancer, no baby, 2 in 1 conversation. And she's just in disbelief. And I don't know how. You can't give me all this information and then say, so you gonna still marry me? Girl, I don't know. I love you, but I know I want a baby. I know how my family is. And she's just really aggressive, and poor Michael don't know what to do, because if he say the wrong thing, she gonna backslap him. But if he says I want to be with you and then changes his mind, then she mad either way. It's like either way is a problem. Oof, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. This jackass Paul, who goes to meet his mother at the pet shop because he's too poor to afford dog food, and he's just like, oh, what about this one? What about this one? And she's like, I don't know. And then he's trying to compare the prices. And basically like a little kid. You know how you go to the store when you was a little kid and you be like, oh, Ma, I like this, but this one's cheaper. You want to get this one? And she's like, did you bring me here to buy stuff? And he's like, yeah, I need a little bit of help. You shouldn't have dogs. If you can't take it, you can barely take care of yourself and your wife. And you really, but his mother has conditioned him, this is how it works. And give me a little money, which she does at the end of the day. And it's just annoying to see. It's sad, but he did it to himself. She did it to him, which in turn creates this continuous cycle of, I need my, and then she said, did you apply for any jobs? And he's like, yeah, but they look at my record and I can't get a job. Now you remember he got a record for arson, and it was 10 years ago. But it's still on your record, which is why you shouldn't do bad things. Now, arson is a big concern for most employers because you could shut their whole thing down. I guess he can't work at McDonald's. I guess he can't work anywhere. So I don't know what he can do. And it's just crazy how he has no resources. And she's like, how does Karine feel? Do you still love her? And he keeps saying she's mad. She's mad. Now, you hadn't seen the blogs, right? How she done ran away and they can't find her, allegedly. But go ahead and watch my other video. I'll post the link above for you to watch that video. Or you look back at my playlist for 90 Day Fiancé and you'll see the video with him saying he's in the hospital and yada, yada, yada. And he just looks really pathetic and just pathetic. And she's saying, I told you wasn't ready for marriage. I told you wasn't ready for a baby. But you still sat here. He's like this, looking like a sad puppy. Oh, well, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. And it's just sad because the baby's involved. And he's not even one. So she pays for this big dog food bag. And he got big dogs. Like, he don't have a little yappy. He got big dogs that require a lot of food. But he asked somebody to hire it, and they're like, no. He just did it to help his mother, to prove a point. And here we go with Tanya and Sinjin. I don't think we've talked about them in a while because they either haven't had anything going on or what. But they're packing up because he's going back home because his brother had a blood clot. And I'm confused because last week, I believe, or so, he said his brother had a blood clot in his lung, but thank God they caught it and it didn't go to, it wasn't that dangerous. Well, any blood clot is dangerous, but he had a blood clot and he didn't die. He's in the hospital, but he's doing better. But Sinjin he's missing home and he wants to go home. So they make the trip, they plan, they go to South Africa, and it always bugs. I guess the show must pay for it because according to them, they're broke. Tanya's not working. He can't find a job. She's still on crutches. And she is like his mother. Like she keeps saying, yeah, don't try to drink so much. Yeah, be careful because I don't want you to get all crazy because you know. And he's like, stop nagging me. Like, I ain't even got there yet. And you still in my ear about drinking. Leave me alone. Yes, he gets wild and rambunctious. That's his personality. You met him like that. You can't change him no time soon. And she's painting him out to be a very irate, irrational alcoholic. And he's just like, don't say anything about it because that's not who I am. And we haven't even got to South Africa yet. And you all in my ear. So they're driving from Connecticut over to what is it called? From Connecticut to JFK in Queens, my hometown. So they can just get up in the morning and just, head on to, and not be late basically, because Connecticut to New York is not that far, but with New York traffic, you can miss your flight, especially with her being, on crutches and stuff. So they go to a hotel for the night, and they're pissed because they haven't said a word in the car in a minute. But you leave the man alone, and that's what it is. And now Colt and Debbie and Jess are in the room. And I guess they were at her parents' house in the area, and then they come back to the hotel where Debbie is, and Debbie's on the phone purposely with Vanessa, who slept with Cole. She's a very pretty girl. And she's watching the cats. So she purposely calls, and then Colt and Jess walk in the room, and she's just like, oh, who are you talking to? She goes, I'm talking to Vanessa. And Colt's like, oh. And Jess gets pissed. And she's like, you told me you didn't talk to her no more. And Jeb is like, well, she's just a friend. She's my friend. So he's his friend. You need to grow up and, basically stop complaining. But then she goes to a confessional. She did it on purpose. Deb is calculated. And she's just like, he said, look at the cats. And just like, what? And Colt didn't tell her that she was watching the cats. But so what? I'm going to tell you nothing. If my mother's friend, is watching our cats while we're over here with you. And then she's like, you didn't tell me about her. And she got her arms folded and she about to get pissed. And Debbie's like, good person, why? Oh, she's a bitch. And Colt lied. So here we go again. And he's like, now I'm seeing Jess for who she really is. Again, stop messing with Brazilian women. Like, I don't know what you don't get yet. Whew, I tell you, Colt. So they're driving, and I guess to the airport because they have everything in their mother packed. And she's like praying before they go, and he tries to talk. And it's the funniest thing because I swear it was something like this. She goes, shh, I'm praying. And he's like, oh, okay. Man, you driving. And he's like, so now she's just like, I shouldn't have drank coffee on an empty stomach because now I have to go to the bathroom, and I've never gone to the bathroom on a plane. And they're talking about they never went to the bathroom on the plane. Like, move on. And they have all of this stuff, and it's just a mess. And they're trying to figure out how to get the kid in the car seat, and the kid, his arm is all restrained and restricted, and he's screaming in his rental car. It's just a mess. You couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me to do all these with these kids. And she's like, we can't take to see your parents tonight because the kids are sleepy, they're tired, they've been driving all day. We cannot have them in this car. And he's just like, you're so fucking annoying again. And she's like, but I want to see my family, they're expecting us. But then he said something like they did food or something. And I'm like, so why don't you say that to her? Like, they cook food. How about I drop you off and I go over there? We'll see them again tomorrow. And he's like, okay. He gets out the car, takes one kid and one bag and leaves her and goes in the house. A hot mess. They are a hot mess. So we have Tanya and Sinjin, and they're at the hotel getting ready to go. Sinjin is packed. He's ready to go. Got the backpack on, like his hair is out. She's ready. Tanya got her backpack on with her crutches. And he's like, you ready to go? Let me just finish. Oh, this is so good. Oh. That is exactly how, I'm not even lying, that is exactly how she is drinking this cup of coffee or tea, whatever it is she's drinking. That's so good. Look at my glasses fogging up. And he's like, is it a magical glass, a cup? Because you've taken 1,000 sips and you still ain't finished. They get on the plane. He's excited to be home. He takes off his shoes on the plane. He's standing up like he's ready. And they just got in the air. And his mom and his sister are at the airport, and they're so excited to see him. They haven't seen him in a while. And they finally see him, and they go running. And it's like, Mom, my sister. So he hugs them. They're so happy. It's just a nice scene. It's a nice scene. And they're hugging him and everything. And, you know, Tanya's happy because she's met them before. And he just says, I feel like I'm coming home. It's like I never left. And she gets scared because she thinks he might stay. Because he wants to be home. Like, he misses home. And she has to get it. Like, I've been living in Virginia for 16 years. When I go back to New York, it's like I never left. And it's like the best feeling in the world. And I'm home. Like, anyway, before I get all emotional. And his mom is just like, they move so fast. I'm surprised. Basically, I'm surprised they're still together because that's not who Sinjin is as a person. And he knows they've been going through a rough patch, and he needs to be happy, and he's not happy because of who he is. He's a free spirit, and it's just, you know, she don't think it's for him. Oh, here we go with Larissa. She's in a cab, basically going back to talk to Carmen and basically beg her to have somewhere to stay because she has no home. So you sent your ass there and cursed Eric the fuck out because you thought you could, and now you have nowhere to go. So you have no makeup, your hair ain't done, and you're talking to Carmen, and she basically like, and she's like, you're beautiful, people love you, why are you with him? And it's because she has to have somebody. She's so annoying. And something happened with the phone. She gave him a spare phone or something, and he's like, well, you took that phone, and he can call the cops, and she's all nervous, and then she hangs up on him, and him being the friend that called about the phone. So now she's starting to get nervous again. She's a train wreck. She needs to go back home to Brazil because the States is not for her. She hasn't found a man yet. She's not going to find a man. And that is what she clearly needs to take care of her because she can't take care of herself. So she has to stop. Like, when is it enough? I don't understand females who need to have somebody no matter what. You can't be who you are as a person. I've never, and I can't even say maybe I know how they feel because I went from one boyfriend when I was like in high school to not dating anybody seriously for a long time, and then met my husband. It worked out, thank God. So I don't know who I am without him, but I doubt that I would be so thirsty and hungry to be with anybody's man because I had to have somebody and being alone. Like, come on, really? Now Angela's back talking about if she can't have a baby, whatever. And then the doctor is calling. She's still Angela is still upset about the baby situation, but she calls to tell Angela that basically she doesn't have any cancerous cells. She'll be fine. And then they're talking about the risk of her having a baby. As the doctor's telling her about her health and the cancer of her uterus, Angela is lighting up a cigarette. Are you insane? They mentioned cancer. They mentioned, you have problems having a baby, but you still puffing away. And she's telling her, basically, you have to stop with the cigarettes. And she doesn't have high blood pressure. She doesn't have cholesterol. She said, oh, even after all this fatty food I eat, she's a blast in the glass, so I gotta say. Michael loves her, and he's asking the doctor about having a baby. What does she think? And she's just like, you two have to decide as a couple if it's right for you. Basically, Michael's just like, can we have a baby or no? And Angela's still upset because he's still not giving her the answer of, yes, I'll stay with you if you can't have a baby. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to go. I feel like he's going to say yeah and then say no. Because it's not going to work. Sinjin is with his family and they're in the grocery store. And he said how much he misses them. And how demanding Tanya is and how strong-willed she is. And is it really going to go somewhere? Tanya is very intense, for lack of better words. And then we get to the dinner scene with Libby and Andre and the brother and her family, and they're trying to get to the bottom of what did Andre do before? Why is he over there? Something he's hiding, and I cannot wait to find out. And they're all asking his friend stuff, and no one's answering anything. And then they get to arguing, and Libby's not saying anything. And he keeps saying, it doesn't matter, shut up, shut the F up, shut the F up, you shut the F up. And then the friends are not saying anything. Like, oh, what did he tell you? So the friends know something, but no one's saying anything. They're saying he does love his daughter, and he felt happy about it when he met her, and yada, yada, yada. But this ain't gonna end well. Then they get up and start pushing each other, and they start getting ready to try to fight. Ugly scene.